Social media is great, especially for research and understanding and learning and connecting with like-minded people. However, there can also be a lot of misinformation out of there. People pretending to be experts who aren't, posting without doing proper research. So there's lots of information out there, especially in our witchy community. And I find this especially bad in the TikTok community. So today I wanted to go through some WitchTok trends and tell you which ones I love and which ones I would pass by, which ones are bad news. So we're gonna do a little tier list ranking. I've created 5 categories here. Number 1 is High Priestess energy. This is our S tier. This is the cream of the crop witchiness. This is something I would say literally go do this afternoon. I could not recommend more as a witch myself. The next, which is like the A tier, is Call the Coven. Call them up. New spell just dropped. We gotta hear about it. Everything in this list will be something that I really would share, something I agree with, but maybe it's not that chef's kiss of the High Priestess. The next one is basic, middle of the road. You know, it's not necessarily untrue. It's not, I think, the most powerful witchcraft, the most powerful tip as it may seem online. So I went with that basic witch trope, black cats and broomsticks. It's like, this is your basic witch. And so is this advice. The next one is called Mercury and Gatorade. This is the tier where I wouldn't exactly recommend it because it's very misinformation based. It's not necessarily like, oh, this is bad, bad, bad. It's more like, that's not exactly true. I picked this one because everyone loves to blame everything on Mercury in retrograde when a lot of the fact it's not Mercury in retrograde, girl, it's just you. And we can't blame everything on a little star in the sky. So it's a bit of misinformation, and so is everything in this category. Lastly, I put Call the Church. These are the WitchTok trends I would burn. These are the ones that I'm like, do not vibe with. This is bad, bad, bad news. I would stay far away from it. So those are the 5 categories. Let's jump in and do some sorting. Let's start off strong with the trend of everyone is a witch. I love this trend personally. I think I would put it in Call the Coven. I don't think it's necessarily High Priestess energy. It's not, you know, you can just call yourself a witch and all of a sudden that's super, super powerful. But I love this idea that we're not gatekeeping. I love this idea that anyone can be a witch, whether you're a man, woman, non-binary, whoever. You're a witch. And if you want to work with your magic, you can call yourself a witch. I love the idea that you don't have to have a big 12, 24 step process ritual and do it every single new moon, and that every day you're doing these precise altar work. Like, you are a witch if you want to be a witch, if you want to keep a crystal in your backpack, if you want to just do small little tips and tricks, if you want to call yourself a witch, you can, as long as you're using magic, as long as you're interested in it. So I would say Call the Coven, we're all witches, let's band together. I really like this trend. The next one I'm gonna look at here is intuition test, I think. So intuition tests are when someone's, you know, holding their hand and they're like, intuition test, what color is the crystal I'm holding, or what number is on this piece of paper, and you take a second, you say what you think, and then they flip it over. I would say this is black cats and broomsticks. I like it. I think it's really interesting, and I definitely am there like, oh my gosh, let me tap into my intuition. However, I think it's a little misleading, and I think there's a lot more you can do to tap into your intuition. I would say ground into it more, really listen to yourself. I would just do more with these personally. I've never posted intuition tests. They're not what I would do to help people test their intuition, to strengthen their intuition, but I also don't think they're wrong in any means. I would just say they're like a very basic form of witchcraft, or very basic form of working with your intuition. So it's like, you know, middle of the ground for me. Let's just start going in order with the way that I have them. The next one is Lucky Girl Syndrome. This, I would say, I guess it wasn't witch talk necessarily. It was more like spiritual talk, self-development TikTok, but I liked it. I know that some people had some problems with it. I know that sometimes because it got so popular, there was some misinformation. So you know what? I'm actually going to put this in Mercury and Gatorade. There was some misinformation. However, I think this could be call the coven energy if it was done in a proper way. I think you can call in luck. I think there is witchcraft to help you have this like lucky girl syndrome. I actually feel like this a lot. I am a lucky person, literally down to just like card games and board games. So I really subscribe to this, but there was a lot of people sharing it in a very privileged way. And so then it was really, really skewed magic and manifestation and spirituality because people were just saying, oh, yes, this is magic, when a big part of what they were doing was based in unchecked privilege. So I would put that in Mercury and Gatorade, but just so you know, it does have the potential to be called a coven. You just have to make sure you're doing it in a non-biased way and you're doing it based on actual magic and witchcraft and not on privilege. The next one on here is the honey spell. As far as I can understand, it's like taking honey and putting a cross or something on your tongue, and it's supposed to call in love. However, we're calling the church, we're getting rid of this, not the actual spell itself, but the TikTok trend of the spell. I want to make that clear. This is based in African and South American witchcraft, and a lot of the times the things coming around on WitchTok are filled with misinformation, and I've seen a lot of creators who come from long lines of witches say that the honey spell trend is actually really dangerous if you're not doing it in a proper way. So that's why I'm saying call the church. I'm not saying it's not powerful. I'm not saying it's not a good spell when done properly. I'm saying the trend is more dangerous. And yes, it could be Mercury and Gatorade because it's misinformation, but because it's causing dangerous results, like people are saying it's causing like stalking and stuff. So we're keeping that out. We're only sticking to spells that we truly understand and have really, really researched, and we understand the boundaries and the safety that needs to be around it. Okay, now we have zodiac rankings. These ones are fun, okay? These ones are fun, but I'm so sorry. It's black cats and broomsticks. They're so fun, and you have definitely caught me making content like this and also eating up content like this. Like, oh my gosh, which zodiac sign is the smartest? Which zodiac sign is most likely to shoplift? Like, I eat that up. But I mean, they're not totally true. They're very surface level astrology, and of course they're fun, and there's like a tiny seed of truth in them a lot of the time. But there's so much more to astrology than just your sun sign, and a lot of time that's what this is basing it on. There's so much than even just your big three, sun, moon, and rising. So it is a bit basic, it is a bit black cats and broomsticks, but it's fun, right? It's still fun. We're talking about love spells next. Now, in my strong opinion, this is called the church. I think love spells are a bit icky. I'm not saying you can't do them. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing spell work that like glamour magic that makes you feel more confident and you feel more radiant and you feel more beautiful inside and out. But love spells with the ethics behind them of trying to make a specific person fall in love with you feels very non-consenty to me, and I just do not like it. So we're burning it, we're leaving it in 2024. Call the church, we're getting rid of love spells. Now we have aura tests. This one I'm a little torn because I think, basically what this WitchTok trend was people holding their hand against a plain white wall or a plain background, and the filter would put an aura around their hand and it was supposed to show your aura. I don't really know how the filter works. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's random. I don't really know how this works, and I just have a hard time thinking that this is actually valid. I know that you can go places and get photos of your aura, and that is cool. But this is like literally just a little TikTok thing. I think it's fun. I don't think there's anything harmful in it. So that's why I'm like, Mercury and Gatorade, it's a little misleading. But there's also, not too much harm in it. I'm going to put in Mercury and Gatorade. I think it's really fun, but I just think it's full of misinformation and doesn't actually tell you what that means. Like, oh my gosh, my aura is blue. What does that mean? Like, people are just gonna be like, oh, that's fun. So Mercury and Gatorade, it's fun. I don't think it's harmful, but it's also not true, I think. Okay. I almost didn't put this one on the tier list. This video found you for a reason, and then doing a tarot card pull. And I do this a lot. I have a lot of content that's like, the universe has a message for you. This found you for a reason. I think it's true. I think when it's coming up on your For You page and you don't follow me and different things like that, that's the case. And a lot of the times people are like, I needed this message. Do I think it's a really big form of magic? Do I think you should base your whole life on this video found you for a reason? No. I think collective readings are really, really powerful and I love doing them. I do them here on YouTube. But do I think that they're as powerful as like personal readings? No. I'm really torn between Black Cats and Broomsticks and Call the Coven. I'm going to put this in Black Cats and Broomsticks. I think if this was just collective readings in general, I'd put it in Call the Coven. You can decide, do I want this? You can take what resonates with you. This video found you for a reason are typically smaller ones, and it is sort of basic. It's a basic hook. Do I think that the reading could still be really powerful? Yes. Do I believe in collective readings? Yes, 1,000,000%. Do I think it's high priestess energy, call up your sisters? No. But I do think collective readings, sending those to people, could be called coven worthy. Just gonna sort that out. All right, working with dark deities. This is difficult. I think working with dark deities like Hecate, Lilith, Persephone, Hades, really, really powerful. Like that, if it was just that itself, that is high priestess energy. We'd place it right there. However, I'm actually going to put this in Mercury and Gatorade. I think there's a lot of misinformation going about there that you can just work with deities. It's easy. You just call on them, blah, blah, blah. But there's so much research and understanding you should be doing about that deity and working with them first. So sometimes I think that these TikToks, they're really great, but they can be a little misleading with what you need to do, with how to properly go about a respectful deity work, altar work, all of that. Some of it's really great. And like I said, this concept on its own, high priestess energy, 100%. The TikTok trend of it, Mercury and Gatorade, because it has a lot of misleading information. Highly recommend doing deity work, but also highly recommend doing your own research and reading a lot beforehand. Okay, witchcraft aesthetic. This one is, I'm just going to put it right up in Call the Coven. It's not high priestess energy because you do not need it. You can have the ugliest altar. You can literally have some dirty little crystals in the bottom of your bag and you're still just as valid. However, does the witchcraft aesthetic make me feel a little more magical? Yes. Does it inspire me? Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong unless someone is saying, you are not good, you are not valid as a witch unless you look like this. Then call the church. It's going all the way down to the bottom. But as a trend itself, I think it's very inspiring. I think it brings people in to the community. And I just really like it, and I aspire to be extra witchy aesthetic one day. It's not high priestess energy because you don't need it. It's not like, oh my gosh, you need to be this way. But Call the Coven, we are having a witchy girl makeover. Blowing cinnamon through your door. Immediate high priestess energy. Immediate high priestess energy. Are you kidding? This is like one of my number one hacks. I have a membership, a little witchy, magical, spiritual membership where we do live calls learning astrology and rituals, and I have a little grimoire on there and I upload rituals. If you want to check it out, I'll put it in the link down below. It's the Find Your Magic membership on Patreon. I'd love to have you in my little coven. And this is something I put in almost any high vibe ritual, manifestation ritual, abundance ritual, money ritual, anything where you're calling in abundance, money, high vibrations. I almost always put blowing cinnamon through your door. Cinnamon is a spice that holds the energy of abundance and blessings and all that good stuff. And blowing it through your door is inviting it into your home. So this is high priestess energy. All the thriving witches blow cinnamon through their door. I'll leave it at that. All right, now let's look at freeze or curses. This was a huge TikTok trend, cursing someone through doing this freezer curse. Mercury and Gatorade, definitely a big thing with this. Lots of misinformation. However, me personally, I just don't vibe with curses. I think that we use this negative energy to scare people. I think cursing someone in general, it's just not good energy. There's karma out there. Like, even if the person is well deserved of a curse, like, you will still get that bad karma back on you because you put ill will out into the world and it's going to return, right? This isn't saying toxic positivity, you have to be perfect all the time. but it is saying that there are more healthy ways to work through those feelings, like those feelings of wanting to get revenge, of feeling hateful. You can be a spokesperson, you can protest, you can put your voice out there. And there's also things in place that you can not have to fully curse someone. You can have crystals that send negative energy back to the creator, back to its original source. There's just other ways to do it than actively causing harm. So to me, we're leaving this, call the church, get this out of here. And honestly, in the same vibe is the good vibes only. Literally two extremes. Like, we're not hexing people and putting that in the freezer. We don't know what energy that's going to bring back to us. And also toxic positivity, good vibes only. I just don't feel bad energy. I don't feel sadness. I don't feel anger. I don't feel grief. I don't feel frustration anymore because I'm just such a high vibration. No. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. I think there's so much power in feeling your feelings, and there's so much magic to be found in things like rage and grief and sadness that good vibes only is also, we do not subscribe to that at all. So call the church, we're getting that out of here. Let's talk about simmer pots. Simmer pots is high priestess energy. Can you tell? Maybe I'm a little biased. I'm in my kitchen witch era. Simmer pots though are so amazing for cleansing in an ethical way. A lot of people are using things like white sage, which is a closed practice, and also a lot of the time farmed very insustainably for Mother Earth. And so we want to cleanse our house in a very ethical way, and simmer pots is a great way to do this. You can use herbs in your simmer pot that cleanse your space while also charging it with the energy you want, with orange peel, with cranberries, with cinnamon in there. It's literally magic in a little pot. I used to dream as a little girl of making my little potions, and simmer pots is as close as you're gonna get, and they make your house smell so good. So that is high priestess energy if there ever was. I would actually put that even above blowing cinnamon through your door. I didn't really put these in order, I'm realizing, but just for that clarity, it would be so high tier for me. Okay, I rearranged them so they're more in that order of front of the line is sort of like closer to the higher tier, and bottom of the line is like further down. Next is WitchTok gatekeeping. I'm going to put this in Mercury and Gatorade at the very bottom because I think some WitchTok gatekeeping is really like just icky. Like, you don't need to gatekeep in this community. But at the same time, I don't think people are gatekeeping. I think WitchTok gatekeeping a lot of the time is just a closed practice, and it's also people having boundaries with their own craft. So I think while sometimes it can be icky and people being like, you can only find out how to be a witch if you buy this program with me, tell the church. But if it's more of like, this is a closed practice, this is personal for me, it's a part of my craft I don't want to share, then it's fine. So we put it in Mercury Gatorade. Honestly, it's split. So it's hard to place. Then we have types of witches. I'm gonna put this in Black Cats and Broomsticks, but like right at the bottom. I've even talked about types of witches. I think when you're starting off and you're like a little baby witch, which is also a type of witch, you need something to grasp onto that's really tangible. Like, oh, I want to look more into astrology, so I'm gonna be a cosmic witch, or I want to work with the moon, so I'm going to be a lunar witch, or I'm going to do stuff in my kitchen, so I'll be a kitchen witch. I think these are used as different types of crafts. Like, there's kitchen witchcraft, there's home and hearth witchcraft, there's spell witchcraft, there's astrology witchcraft, there's divination witchcraft, there's tool witchcraft, but that doesn't make you one specific kind of witch. You can just choose one if you really, really want, which is why I'm putting this in Black Cats and Broomsticks, because there's nothing wrong with it. I would say I'm an eclectic witch. I do so many different things, and I would say most people are eclectic witches because there's just so much available to us. So you can choose one name if you want, but I do think it kind of puts our magic and ourselves in a box. That's why I'm putting it at Black Cats and Broomsticks. It's basic. You can do it if you want, but I wouldn't say it's like high priestess energy. There's this trend of what people think I do versus what I actually do, and I love this one actually. I'm gonna put it in Call the Coven. I think it's so fun. I'm gonna put it at the very top actually of this of this category because it's so fun. I love it. So what people think I do. And it's like summoning demons and doing this big ritual naked with rose petals. And it's like what I actually do. And it's like sweeping stuff to the front of it. It's, you know, in my sweatpants and comfy clothes, like sitting there looking at a tarot card and being like, come on. And I think this is just very realistic. I think it helps break that barrier of needing to be perfect in witchcraft. It's so funny because I have the witch aesthetic and this at Call the Coven, but I just think it's important to be like, you know, we don't have to be perfect and break that illusion a little bit of like what witchcraft is. Twin flames. I'm gonna put in, ooh, this one's so hard. I'm gonna put in Mercury and Gatorade, but it's so close to Call the Church because there have been so many people hurt by this phenomena, by this concept. I'll put a link here to my deep dive on twin flames if you want to hear more about it, but it's a bit dangerous. I don't know. Twin flames as romance is just mostly untrue. I'm still really grappling with the idea if I even believe in twin flames or not, or if they're just karmic relationships, foils to ourselves and people we've known in a past life. But with what I have always believed about twin flames, I don't subscribe to a lot of the twin flame rhetoric on WitchTok, on TikTok, on social media. So I would say it's really close to being in Call the Church. It's like if I could put it right in between the two lines, I would. So full of misinformation. Do your research to decide if this is something you even want to subscribe to, but know that there's a lot of very dangerous misinformation out there. Lucky or money jars. I'm going to put in Call the Coven. I'm going to put it in right here. I think if done right, they're amazing. I would say I subscribe a little bit more to money bowls. I've heard people say that making money jars and like closing it's literally containing your money, and like the moment you open it, so much more is going to come in. So I would need to do a little bit of research on this. So maybe instead of lucky or money jars, it's money bowls. But Call the Coven, we are doing whatever we can to up that energy, to be more lucky, to call in more money. This is like the lucky girl syndrome I was talking about, where I really believe in luck magic, but this is a much more approachable and magic and witchcraft based trend. So I really like it personally. And I've done abundance jars, I've done manifestation jars with clients, and I think it's really, really fun. So Call the Coven, we're calling in some abundance. Then we have changing your appearance using witchcraft, and you were calling the church. Call the church. We're going to put it right in the middle there. I do not doubt that this has worked for people. I do not doubt that you've had a glow up after doing witchcraft, after getting more into your spiritual journey, because a lot of the time you tap into your body more, you listen to what's wrong with it, you're able to work with it, you're listening to your mind, and you're working with your mental health. So many things that people use in therapy and for their mental health have roots in magic and witchcraft and spirituality. I do not doubt that you had some sort of glow up when you started taking care of your energy. However, doing A, B, and C, or saying, you know, get into witchcraft, do this, and you will be skinnier, you will be fitter, your face will slim out, you'll get this perfect skin. It's like, A, no, because just because that happened for you doesn't mean that it's going to happen for others. And B, witchcraft is feminine power. Witchcraft is women taking their power back. So why on earth are we putting patriarchal views of beauty tied to witchcraft? It's just a big no from me. It's like, no, we're talking about power. We're talking about feeling good. We're not talking about how we look. You are beautiful. You do not need to change your appearance through witchcraft. If it gives you more confidence and you feel more beautiful, we love that for you, but it's not being used as a sales technique, and it's not being used in this icky way. And then finally, we have lazy witchcraft. This is high priestess energy. Lazy witchcraft was the trend on TikTok. This is also known as mundane or like everyday or easy witchcraft. I love the idea of lazy witchcraft. This is stuff that you put into motion and it happens for you every day. Or that's just really easy, like blowing cinnamon through your door, like doing these little things, like keeping a crystal in your purse, like having spell jars that sit there for a month. This is witchcraft that has a lot of intention, but you don't need the upkeep all the time and you don't need to be perfect. I have ADHD, so I struggle with this. So lazy or mundane witchcraft where it just becomes an intricate little easy part of your life is so fun. Literally stirring some honey into your tea like I did before this with my little cup of tea and putting your affirmations in it, that is a lazy witchcraft. That's mundane witchcraft. It's like, I'm just gonna do this real quick. It's so easy. And I love that. We want to make magic and witchcraft in this community more accessible. I don't want to keep it closed off. So come join us, do the lazy witchcraft, and become a witch. That is all I have. Let me know if you agree with these ratings. I'll put the link below if you want to do this yourself. Let me know if you want to see this again. Tell me some trends I should add to this list, update the list a little bit, or something else you'd like to see tier ranked. Crystals tier ranked? Spells tier ranked? What do you want to see? Let me know. This was super fun. I haven't done a video like this before, but I had a really good time creating it, researching it, and putting it all together for you. So I hope you enjoyed this little tier ranking of WitchTok, and I will see you in the next video. All right, have a magical day. Bye. Cheers.